Dear students, welcome to the Principles of Human Resource Management course. In this video, we will talk about Chapter 2, Human Resource Management Strategy and Analysis, Lesson 4, HR Metrics, Benchmarking, and Data Analytics. By the end of this video, you will be able to 1. Define HR metrics, benchmarking, and data analytics. What are HR audits? Human resource metrics is the quantitative gauge of a human resource management activity, such as employee turnover, hours of training per employee, or qualified applicants per position. Benchmarking means comparing the practices of high-performing companies' results to your own in order to understand what they do that makes them better. Data analytics means using statistical and mathematical analysis and algorithms to find relationships and make predictions. Improving performance through HRIS. Tracking applicant metrics for improved talent management. Let's talk about it. As an example, many employers spend thousands of dollars or more recruiting employees without measuring which hiring source produces the best candidates. The sensible solution is to assess recruitment effectiveness using measures or metrics such as quality of new hires. Many employers do track and analyze such data with the help of computerized applicant tracking systems, ATS. ATS suppliers include Authoria, PeopleFilter, Wonderlic, eContinuum, and PeopleClick. Regardless of the vendor, analyzing recruitment effectiveness using ATS software involves two steps. First, decide how to measure the performance of new hires. For example, with Authoria's system, hiring managers input their evaluations of each new hire at the end of the employee's first 90 days, using a 1 to 5 scale. Next, the applicant tracking system enables the employer to track the recruitment source that correlates with superior hires. It may show, for instance, that new employees hired through employee referrals stay longer and work better than those from newspaper ads. For example, installing an Authoria ATS enabled the Thomson Recruiters Company to identify their recruitment sources, candidate traits, and hiring practices that work best in each geographic area where the company does business. This enabled Thomson to reduce recruiting costs by shifting recruitment dollars from less effective to more effective sources. Benchmarking means comparing the practices of high-performing companies' results to your own in order to understand what they do that makes them better. Benchmarking just measures how one is doing, for instance, in terms of employee productivity, is rarely enough for deciding what, if anything, to change. Instead, most managers want to know how are we doing in relation to something. For example, are our accident rates rising or falling? Similarly, the manager may want to benchmark the results. Human resource managers often collect data on matters like employee turnover and safety via human resource audits. The HR audit generally involves using a checklist to view the company's human resource function, recruiting, testing, training, and so on, as well as ensuring that the firm is adhering to regulations, laws, and company policies. The HR auditor may first review payroll data, focusing on what and when each employee was paid. He or she will then turn to whether the human resource records are in order. For instance, are medical records kept separate from resumes? He or she will also review the employer's handbooks and policies, for instance, checking for disability accommodation policies, social media policies, and family and medical leave policies. He or she may also want to benchmark the results to comparable companies. HR audits vary in scope. Trends shaping HR, digital and social media. Data like monthly labor costs are interesting but relatively useless until converted to information. Information is data presented in a form that makes it useful for making decisions. For example, knowing your cost per hire is interesting. However, presenting cost per hire data in a way that shows whether the cost is trending up or down provides information you can use to make decisions. Yet, in one study, only 10% of respondents said they used such data to analyze their workplace practices' effectiveness, but this is changing. Data analytics means using statistical and mathematical analysis and algorithms to find relationships and make decisions. Talent analytics. Data analytics tools like these also enable employers, including Walmart, to analyze in new ways employee data both on obvious things like employee demographics, training, and performance ratings, but also data from new sources like company internal social media sites, GPS tracking, and email activity. Employers then use talent analytics, data analytics applied to HR issues, to answer questions that in the past they couldn't answer, or couldn't answer as well. Talent analytics can produce striking profitability results. For example, Best Buy used talent analytics to discover that a 0.1% increase in employee engagement led to a more than $100,000 rise in a Best Store annual operating income. Employers use talent analytics to answer several types of talent management questions. Human capital facts. For example, what are the key indicators of my organization's overall health? JetBlue found that employee engagement correlated with financial performance. Analytical HR. For example, which units, departments, or individuals need attention? Lockheed Martin collects performance data in order to identify units needing improvement. Human capital investment analysis. For example, which actions have the greatest impact on my business? By monitoring employee satisfaction levels, Cisco was able to improve its employee retention rate from 65% to 85%, saving the company nearly $50 million in recruitment, selection, and training costs. Talk about it. Discussion. Could Best Buy or some of these other companies have made the same discoveries without using sophisticated computerized tools? How? Trends shaping HR. Signs in talent management. Data analytics involves making decisions based on measurable and objective review of the situation. Managers have a name for this. Evidence-based human resource management means using data, facts, analytics, scientific rigor, critical evaluation, and critically evaluated research or case studies to support human resource management proposals, decisions, practices, and conclusions. You may sense that being evidence-based is similar to being scientific, and if so, you are correct. In gathering evidence, scientists or managers first need to be objective, or there's no way to trust their conclusions. Being scientific also requires experimentation. An experiment is a test one sets up in such a way as to ensure that he or she understands the reasons for the results obtained, and it will enable you to predict how changing the incentive plan will affect performance. Successful HR managers need to be scientific today. As an example, the chemical company BASF Corp used talent analytics to analyze data on the relationship among stress, health, and productivity in its 15,000 U.S. headquarters staff. Based on that analysis, the company instituted health programs that it calculated would more than pay for themselves in increased productivity by reducing stress. Talk about it. Discussion. If it is apparently so easy to do what BASF did to size up the potential benefits of health programs, why do more employers not do so? In this video, we have talked about 1. HR metrics, benchmarking, and data analytics. 2. Improving performance through HRIS. tracking applicant metrics for improved talent management. 3. HR audits.